Hello everyone and welcome back to another reading. I hope you're so well always. So today we're going to do a fun reading, like a exciting, what is your next big blessing in life? Like a big, noticeable blessing. And yeah, we're just going to bring the light in through this reading and uplift our frequency and all of that good stuff. So I'll show you the cards in a minute. I just wanted to let you guys know that I have some more private tarot readings available on my shop again, if you're interested. And yeah, that's all. So I'll see you for your reading. Bye. Okay, group one, hello. So you chose the water fairy, feelings and emotions. So, I feel like your big blessing is a new beginning. It's a new beginning. It's a much easier way of being. See how she's in the water in this card, and it feels kind of almost like, I'm kind of getting this energy of like you're coming up from being underwater. You've been almost like buried maybe by your feelings and your emotions. You've been drowning in the intensity of your feelings and your emotions. So there's an easefulness here coming through. But there's something about you're coming out of the water, like you're coming up and out of the water, and it's going to be a very fresh perspective, a very fresh energy, a very new beginning. So it's a new beginning in an area where you were struggling with earlier. Like there's very much, the blessing is that something that was very much a struggle is no longer a struggle. Okay, something that was very much a struggle is no longer a struggle. Like, for example, maybe you've always had issues with relationships or with workplaces or with, I don't know, some kind of area that's always been, I don't know, unfulfilling. Okay, that's what it feels like. Something that's been unfulfilling. And see how she's kind of almost like holding herself like in a bit of a protective energy. There's something about like you've been self-preservation. You've been self-preserving somehow, kind of subconsciously. And there's no longer a need to do that. So it's like you're unraveling, you're unfurling, you're taking down some kind of protection that you've had, taking down some kind of armor, and maybe also letting yourself be seen as well if you've been hiding. So the main thing I'm feeling is emotions, and so therefore relationships. I'm feeling like this is very much in the realm of relationships for you, like having success within relationships where you previously weren't having that. There was previously some kind of a block. So the blessing is that you're overcoming some kind of a block to do with relationships, and you're not going to be having to like hide yourself in relationships anymore. I'm seeing like an authenticity that's very fulfilling. So the blessing is about a relationship. Okay, so this is what it is. It took me a while to decode it, you guys, but the blessing is somebody. It's a person. It's actually somebody coming into your life. So it's a friend, or obviously a romantic relationship for some of you guys. If it's an area in which you felt, like a little bit unlucky, like, oh, I can never find, that person that's right for me. Or you really would love to be able to have a business partner, or you really would love to have a best friend, or to have a partner in life, right? And for some reason, it just like wasn't lining up. It wasn't matching up. It's almost like I'm seeing someone and they're like trying to go on dates, right? They're trying to go on dates, they're trying to meet people, they're trying to put themselves out there, and they keep going on date after date, and they like really putting in effort, and it's kind of like they're pushing themselves out of their comfort zone. But no matter how much they try, they're just not meeting anyone that they're interested in. They're just meeting people that it's like, yeah, we're just not a match, or we're just completely different, we want different things, or whatever it is. It's like whatever it is, it's not matching up. It's not syncing up, and there's a feeling, this person's having a feeling of like, what is the point? What is the point of trying? There's a feeling of like kind of wanting to give up, wanting to go back into hiding, wanting to not have to put self out there. So okay, so there's something about having unfulfilling connections or out of sync relationships and like almost like feeling like, oh my gosh, do I have to settle? I'm kind of seeing energy now of like, do I have to settle? Do I have to settle for someone that I'm not really into because there's like just no one out there for me? I'm getting a feeling of like maybe you felt like an alien, or you just felt like I'm better alone, and all of these kinds of themes. So it doesn't have to be through dating. It could be through friendship, or even for some of you, it could be through finding an actual like workplace or a way of being in the world that feels authentic to you. Like it's like, oh, I just keep finding workplaces where I don't resonate with anybody, and I have to kind of put on this fake act and this fake persona in order to fit in the social dynamics of the office or whatever it is. It's something about that. It's like something about inauthenticity feeling draining. Like it's like, oh, I just can't go on one more date with this like with people that I can't be honest with, or with people that I don't have a good flow of conversation with, or where I can't, you know, share myself or express myself properly. And the same with friendships, the same with workplaces. Like Spirit's saying that you have outgrown the ability to kind of be self-sacrificing and inauthentic, which is actually a good thing. It's a really good thing. So Spirit's almost like saying, give yourself a round of applause almost, because it's a really good thing. It's a really good thing. This is giving me the energy of like being able to find someone that you can be vulnerable with, that you can be authentic with, that you can share in life with, and therefore it being extremely fulfilling and rewarding. And it's really leveling you up. It's leveling you up in general. Like having this person come into your life is a big level up. So I do see someone coming into your life. I feel like it's someone new. For some of you, maybe it's a deepening of an existing relationship. But I really feel like for most of you, this is someone coming in new that's like, well, it's a very different energy than you've experienced before. And it's like, you're going to feel very fulfilled by the authenticity within your connection. You're going to feel very fulfilled by the fact that you can be yourself and speak what you actually think, and that they understand you. You know, it's sort of showing me like, it's very much giving me the energy of dating, like where people are kind of dating around, but they're not really finding anyone that they connect with. And it's true sometimes in other areas of life as well, right? Where we kind of, yeah, we'd really like to meet some new people or some new friends, but we're just not really finding anyone that we vibe with or whatever. Same with work, maybe, because workplaces are relationships as well, right? There's a social dynamic to workplaces 100%. So it's about the social side of life where I feel like you've been a bit of an alien, or you felt alienated, or you felt like I'm never going to find my people or my person. And so there was a sense of like resignation, and it was causing some emotions. It was actually causing some feelings of like unfulfillment. Like I don't feel fulfilled by my relationships. And it was a bit sad. I'm feeling this sadness here. So this blessing coming into your life is about fulfillment within relationships, because I think that this person coming in who you're going to be so connected with and so authentic with, it's also going to kind of ripple out across all of your other relationships, where you're going to find that you're able to be more authentic in life. You're able to be more authentic and like braver in the way that you show up and express yourself. So it's going to be it's really going to change like the way that you are within relationships. So it's a blessing of a person, I'm feeling, but it's also a blessing of like a whole new way of being in the world, because this person coming in, I feel like they're going to make you feel a lot more confident and courageous about being different and about being different. It's going to make you feel like being different is special, because it meant that you could meet this person, and in meeting this person, like they think that you're the most incredible, inspiring, creative, incredible person, and they wouldn't want you to be different, right? They wouldn't want you to be normal or to blend in, right, with the status quo of things. They like that you're different. They like that you don't feel like you fit into normal society. They like that. So it's going to make you like that about yourself better. It's going to make you realize like, wait, maybe there wasn't anything wrong with me. This is the blessing. It's like, there's nothing wrong with me, because when you find someone that you connect with so deeply, it kind of puts into perspective all of your failed relationships. Because when you have something that's so thriving and so easy with another person, it's like, well, You know, it makes you realize about compatibility. That's the word. It's like compatibility. Sometimes two people just are not a good fit. They might be drawn to each other, right, because of different subconscious things going on or whatever, but they're not actually a good fit. They're working out some kind of karma or trauma together. So I'm seeing you might have had some, I don't know, I'm seeing you might have had some heartbreaks in relationships or in friendships or family or whatever. Like, I'm talking about general relationships, right? Not just romance. But wow, this blessing is going to be making you feel very fulfilled in the realm of your relationships. It's going to help you to show up differently in the realm of your relationships so that you can kind of get your needs met better by life and you can kind of feel more fulfilled, I guess. Because when you're authentic, you feel more free. It's like a freedom of expression, a freedom where you're not having to censor yourself, or you're not having to worry that if you share what you think, you'll be gaslit and told, like, what are you talking about? That's crazy, or that's not really going on. Like, I'm feeling a lot of that kind of energy in your past where it's like, you know, someone was gaslighting you, for example. I have to get some, feeling some kind of wound now about being gaslit, you know, the gaslighting. You know, it's that thing of when you have an intuition about something and then someone tells you, like, no, that's not true, or that's not what really is going on, or they might even lie. Like, I'm kind of getting this energy, something about some kind of wound about you pick up on things, or you try to share these things in relationship, but people like don't understand you, or they don't get it, or they don't agree, or they're like, no, I don't see that that way, or I don't think so, or, you know, it's very much you were always connected into these higher realms, these higher frequencies, and seeing things. You really perceived truth more than the people around you did. Okay, that's what it is. You perceived truth more than the people around you did. And then when you were saying like what you saw, the people around you couldn't see it, and they were like, what are you talking about? So this created a very strange, like, I'm almost seeing a strange like chemistry in the body of like, what? It's very strange because you weren't like, it's like maybe you were a child, right, when this was happening. So it's like, how would you know that you were actually the one that was right and the people around you couldn't see what you could see? But as a child, you might be like, oh, then my intuition must be wrong, right? And this can make us turn against ourselves. So I'm seeing something about this where it's like, you saw truth, right? As a child, it's definitely stemming from your childhood. So it's like, you've always been this way. You've always been this light being on this earth, I have to say. You've been a light being on this earth. So you were incarnated into a situation where you could see truth more than the people around you could. And so when you would speak truth, when you would speak to what you saw, they would be like, no. You know, it's kind of giving me like, if a child is like, oh my God, I see a fairy, right? And then some adult is like, no, you don't. Fairies don't exist. What are you talking about? It's kind of like this pushing down of that spirit of imagination and of actually clairvoyance and seeing. Because in that moment, that sense of that third eye, it's like that third eye sense is shut down. It's kind of giving me that energy. Or it's like crushing, right? For a child, it's like they're like, oh my gosh, I see a fairy, right? And then they're like told, no, you don't. They're gaslit because maybe they really do see a fairy, or at least maybe their imagination is playing a game, which is fine. So it's like this crushing of this third eye gift that you have. I'm really getting a strong third eye energy from you, where it's like you really see things, and for whatever reasons, you were incarnated into a situation where people did not affirm that of you. People did not mirror back to you your intuition to be like, hey, yeah, you're amazing. You really see things, or you really pick up on things. They might have even lied to you and been like, no, that's not true, when really it was true, but they just didn't have the vulnerability to admit it, right? I'm getting that strongly, actually. It's like you might have been like, Mommy, why is Daddy sad all the time? And then Mommy's like, Daddy's not sad. What are you talking about? It's that kind of thing where it's like, it just scrambles the energy body. It scrambles it where it's like, I don't know which way is up anymore. So this gaslighting has had a huge toll on you, and it's been some kind of a theme for you in this lifetime, because you've been reclaiming your intuition, and you've been reclaiming your sense of trust and your sense of being able to trust your own perception of life. So this is a blessing, this person coming into your life, this relationship coming into your life, because it's also kind of marking some form of like end to a healing that you've been going through, some healing cycle that you've been going through where you've been having to kind of purge out all of that trauma around not being affirmed of your intuition, right? Not being, like I said, it scrambles the energy body where you're like, you can, as a kid, maybe you intuited like that your mom was sad, right? And then she's telling you, I'm not sad, I'm not sad. It's very confusing. So there's this sense of confusion I'm getting from this energy, this confusion within relationships. Like, how do you navigate telling the truth? How do you navigate being authentic? How do you navigate your intuition when it was kind of distorted at such a young age? So you've reclaimed your intuition, you've reclaimed your sense of inner knowing, and you've reclaimed a sense of only wanting authentic relationships, right? Not letting people gaslight you any longer, not staying in relationships where people can't see your wisdom. Whoa, that's a strong one. I just felt the energy of that as I said it. Not staying in relationships where people can't see your wisdom. That's super strong. Where people can't hear your wisdom, they can't perceive it. They just like, what are you talking about? I don't get it. Or I don't agree, or I don't understand. I feel like that's a strong pattern for you as well. So there's something about a relationship coming in that's going to be so refreshing because they're going to see your wisdom, they're going to hear your wisdom, and they're going to want you to be the most authentic, honest, expressive version of yourself. And I don't know if you've had a relationship quite like this before. Like, you might have had it in a friendship and now you're getting a partner, right? A romantic partner. Or you might have had it in a workplace but you haven't had it in a friend yet. There's something about where it's like, it's kind of new, and that's why it's also going to feel like such a big blessing when it does come in, because you're going to be like, oh my God, I've done so much work to be able to manifest someone that's this in alignment with me. Because I'm just seeing you might have experienced relationships as being quite draining for a lot of your life because you've manifested people that have been even just ever so slightly out of alignment with yourself and with your energy. And then I'm seeing you've kind of been working your way up. Like, I'm almost getting, again, I keep being shown the dating thing because Spirit's saying it's like you almost had to work your way up like a staircase for some reason. I don't know. This is what I'm being shown. It's like you manifested someone who it's like, yeah, I really like this thing about them, but gosh, yeah, we really clash on everything else, right? Then you manifest someone else and there's a few more things you resonate with. And then you manifest someone else and then it's like, well, we're like almost like 70% compatible right now. Right? And then you manifest someone else and it's like 95% compatible. And then you might want to settle and be like, yeah, surely this is, good enough. Spirit's like, no, you're going to meet someone you're like 100% compatible with. And that's why it's going to feel like such a blessing, because I feel like for so much of your life, you've compromised in relationships and you've even held back on your wisdom, or you've held back on your ideas or your authenticity, and maybe been in patterns of people pleasing, or like not wanting to rock the boat, or not wanting to be disagreeable, or something like this. And so it's changed the quality of the relationships that you've been able to kind of bring in, because you've had this subconscious pattern playing out. But I'm just seeing this person really marking like a definitive kind of end to that pattern, because once you experience how easy the relationship is and how much you flow with this person, it's like your standards are going to go so high and you're not going to settle ever again. For workplaces, for friendships, for romance, you're not going to settle, because you're going to realize there's no need to settle. There's no need. We can actually just manifest someone that is 100% in alignment with us. And that's what you're getting, okay? That's your blessing group 1, someone that you're in 100% alignment with, and a beautiful relationship growing from that. Okay, much love, bye. Hello, group number 2. So you are manifesting a miracle, group 2. You really are. This is a miracle energy with magic, coincidence, and synchronistic events. See how this raven is on top of the skull? It's something that you thought was dead, or that was done, or that was... You thought something in your life would be a bad outcome in some way. You're like, oh my God, this is going to end really badly, or I'm going to lose this thing, or this person doesn't want to be my friend anymore, or something that you're feeling really... I feel like you're feeling anxious about it at the moment, and you're thinking like, this is never going to happen. This is never going to happen. It's something you feel like it's not going to happen, or it's very unlikely that it happens. Maybe you still have a little bit of a hope that it will happen, but you're like, it's pretty unlikely. I would be pretty lucky if this thing happened, or, that would be pretty much a miracle if this ended up, happening. Or maybe there's some kind of thing like you need to, it's something that you think is dead though. It's something that you think, it's like something that you think is going to end badly, or that is already not even possible to happen. Something that maybe is like dead to you. Like you're like, it's not going to happen. No. But there's a part of you that really still wants to believe. There's a part of you that hasn't given up. There's a part of you that still believes in magic. You're like, yeah, but there's a lot of the impossible can happen. You know, you're like that. You're like, yeah, well, there's still a part of you that is like, well, maybe. That little bit of you that's like, maybe. But a lot of you is like scared, and you're like, oh my God, the worst is about to happen. The worst is about to happen. The worst is about to happen. Or like there's going to be the worst case scenario and some kind of outcome. Okay, but it's actually going to be a very beautiful outcome, a very magical outcome, a very synchronistic, something that can only be orchestrated by the divine is going to swoop into your life like this raven and deliver you a miracle to a situation, the skull that you thought was dead, that you thought was done, that you thought was not going to yield you any more light or life force, right? It's like you thought that, oh, I definitely can't, you know, I'm definitely not going to get this job, right? You really want this job, you interviewed for it, but you haven't heard from them for like 2 weeks. You're like, gosh, yeah, I'm definitely not getting it, hey? And you're maybe going through all these insecurities and being like, oh my gosh, maybe, but most of you's just given up because you're trying not to get your hopes up, okay? Well, it's like, well, miracle, okay? You're going to have this raven come in and be like, here you go. We actually love your application and we want to offer you this job today and give you all this money right now. So we love you. You know, it's like that kind of an outcome where you're like, what? You are expecting something far more humbling from the universe, okay? I'm almost getting like you're expecting some kind of like being humbled, right? When you're like, it's because it's something that you can't control, okay? It's something you feel like you can't control the outcome of. So it's almost like it has to come from spirit. So you kind of were expecting some kind of humbling, like them being like, you know what, you're not qualified for this job or something in kind of a harsh way. And instead they're going to come in and be like, you know what, we want to give you like twice the amount of money actually. I don't know about that, but it's something that you're going to perceive as like that, where you're going to be like, what? And it's almost like your self-worth during this time of like not knowing what the outcome would be. It's almost like your self-worth was like getting a bit triggered, and you were like, oh my gosh, I'm not good enough to get hired at this job. You know, again, like put it to whatever situation you might be going through in your life. But it's like, you know, when you hadn't heard back from after you did the interview, you know, your mind was overthinking and you're like, oh gosh, they hated me. And remember when I said that thing? How could I have said that thing? It's so embarrassing. Why did I say that thing? Oh my gosh. You know, when you kind of like start to like overthink it and then look back and be like, okay. Or you're thinking like, oh my gosh, if I really say how I feel to someone, they're not going to want to like be my friend anymore, or they're not going to want to be with me anymore, but I really feel like I have to say something, but it's just going to be a terrible outcome. And it's like, well, actually it's going to be a really good outcome. Okay, it's something like this. Something you have fear about, you might be overthinking about, you might be in your head about it, in your feels about it, feeling like I'm not good enough, I'm not going to get this thing, or it's not going to come in time, or... Well, Spirit has news for you. It's going to be a miracle. There's a miracle coming in for you. You're manifesting a miracle right now. And this miracle is going to come in quite quickly with the raven, because birds, I feel like they're quite fast moving, you know. The air energy is very fast moving. So it's like it's going to come in and then your whole reality will change, and it's going to change your perception. And I think this is an important kind of like, I don't know, you know how they say like it's a teachable moment. I've heard that used in like corporate settings, a teachable moment. But anyway, so it's almost like Spirit saying it's going to be a teachable moment for you, where you're going to be like, oh, so why did I go into like, you're going to realize the perception shift, right? Of not knowing if you got the job yet. We're just using this example, it's easiest. Not knowing you have the job yet and thinking, oh my God, they hated me. They freaking hated me. What did I do? Why did I say that stuff? Oh gosh. Versus hearing you had the job and they want to actually give you some extra bonuses because they really want to keep you around. And you're like, wait, what? Why was I thinking so poorly of myself when now that I have all this, you know, abundance, or now that I have this security or this response from them, actually my whole life looks different to me now. And I look different to me now, and I'm realizing my own worth again. Okay, so it's really going to help you come back into your own sense of self-worth, because I'm feeling like this situation has made you feel a bit insecure, a bit rattled, you know, in your sense of security, and you're like, oh my God. So yeah, so it's very good news. It's really good news. It's like you're getting news that's really positive, and that's going to feel like a miracle because it changes your situation and it opens something up that you thought was like a dead end. You're like, nah, it's a dead end. Spirit's not letting me go through there anymore, you know, or this relationship's over, or, you know, this person's never going to respond to me about the job interview, whatever it is. It's like, well, actually you get news that's even better than you thought was possible. Wow. Well, this is very, very good news. So this is definitely going to feel like a blessing when it comes in, group 2. You're going to feel like you want to celebrate. You're going to feel like so much gratitude. You're going to feel like you want to thank the divine and be like, hello, Spirit, thank you so much. I'm sorry I ever doubted you. It's going to be a bit like that, where you're going to, it's almost like you've given up, right? You think something's a dead end. You're like, there's no going through. There's just no going through. And it's almost like that's true, but there's also the element of spirit. There's also the element of magic that's within all things, right? And at the last moment, Spirit's kind of going to swoop in and open that door for you that you thought was locked forever. Really interesting, group 2. So it's very positive. You're going to feel very celebratory, and almost like, I feel like this is also, I think it's going to change your perception of yourself to some extent, right? Remember what I was saying about your perception before and after hearing this news, or getting this result, or realizing that you're saved, or this miracle's come in, or this person still loves you, or whatever it is. Before and after realizing that, Spirit really wants you to pay attention to your different perception of yourself. Before you have the news and there's a possibility, right, that you got rejected, it's like, what kind of perception did you have of yourself? Were you like shaming yourself or feeling worthless and all that kind of mental chatter? Judging yourself, thinking, ridiculing yourself for what it is that you shared. And then after you get the news, you realize they loved you, they were so impressed by your interview, right? And then you're like, oh my gosh, I did amazingly, right? And then you have this self-worth shift, and you have this self-image shift where you see who you are in a different way. And Spirit's saying, really pay attention to that, because I feel like it's going to help you in the future when you do have these unknowns, right? Because it's almost like you're facing some kind of unknown, you're facing some kind of uncertainty where you're like, I don't know what the answer's going to be. I just can't predict it. I don't know. And it's almost like it's out of your hands, like Spirit's almost asked you to just surrender it to Spirit. So you're going to feel like when you face these kinds of things again, that you have a better faith. You're going to feel like you have a better faith because you can look back to this example and be like, well, even when I thought there was no hope, something still ended up coming in for me, or I was still looked after in that situation by the universe. You know what I mean? So it's going to like really help you to feel more comforted, and like it's going to basically be a blessing that lasts for a long time, because it's going to help you to change your perception when life events are happening. It's going to help you to change your perception instead of feeling like when there's an uncertainty about things and you don't know which way things are going to go, it's like, why choose to only see that it would go the worst possible way? You're going to realize like, wait, why do I have to think that it's not going to work out for me? Maybe I could just, think that it's still possible. It could go both ways. Like, it's going to help you to remain more neutral as you manifest things in life, as you sit in the time before something has manifested, when there's maybe no external proof, right? In the physical realm, you have your connection to Spirit. You still have your connection to Spirit. So it's going to help sort of bolster you to be more connected to Spirit, to be more connected to faith, and being like, you know what? Maybe things will work out. I think it's also going to restore some sense of trust that you have in the universe. It's like an abandonment wound, okay? This is what I'm picking up on. It's like an abandonment wound. Like you feel like, well, maybe the universe is just going to forget about me. Or maybe I'm not, maybe I'm not worth saving, or I'm not worth it, something like that. And then it's like the angels are literally coming in to give you this blessing on a silver platter, and you're going to be like, well, I got to change the way I think about myself, and I got to change the way I think about the world. And it's really positive. It's really beautiful. It's going to change your mindset. It's going to change your mind about your life and about yourself and about your angels and about your guides. Like, you might have been feeling really angry at the universe. Like, I'm getting anger now. Like, when you're yelling at Spirit, or you're yelling at God, and you're like, why is this happening? This is not fair, or whatever. Or like, where are you, Spirit? I need your help. Come on. It's like you're kind of facing some kind of abandonment wound. You've been facing some kind of abandonment wound where it's like, something's not going to come in for me. Something's not, like a kid who's waiting to be picked up from school, but the parent never shows up. It's like, oh, what does that kid do, right? There's that feeling of abandonment and intense fear. And it's like that kind of feeling I'm getting, where it's like, oh my gosh, what if the universe just like doesn't come in for me? What if no one shows up? What if no one picks me up? What if? So yeah, a lot of mental kind of fear, but it's coming from a true place. Like Spirit's not trying to minimize this fear, because it's coming from a very true place in something that you really did experience abandonment with as a child. There really was an abandonment situation where, you know, maybe someone really didn't show up for you in time or something like this, and there's a sort of like a deep wounding here. And I think Spirit's saying that's again why this perception of yourself was a little bit distorted before you got the news, right? Before you got the news that you got the job, or whatever it is. Before you got the news that you got the job and you just sat in the post-interview period of 2 weeks or whatever, your perception of yourself is like, oh, I'm not worth, you know, I'm not worth them hiring me, or whatever it is, that fear, that insecurity that can get triggered in that uncertainty. And Spirit's saying like, well, think about that. Look at that. Because this is helping you, having this thing come in is helping you to like heal this abandonment wound. That was the thing that was underlying those kinds of emotions anyway, those thoughts. It was like underpinning, this abandonment wound was like underpinning these thoughts of like, oh, I'm not good enough to get this job, or they really didn't like me, did they? Wow, so this is a big healing. This is a big healing, and it's kind of a blessing. It's a blessing because you've been doing a lot of work on this abandonment wound. You have to have been in order to manifest this sort of miracle into your life. You've actually been doing a lot of work to counteract those belief systems around, oh, I'm not worthy, or whatever it is. Whatever's been triggered, you know, in this uncertain time where you've been facing uncertainty or instability or lack of money or resources or whatever it's been, a relationship instability as well. So yeah, this is a very beautiful kind of healing, and I'm seeing from this point onwards, when this miracle comes in, that you're just going to feel a lot better about yourself, about life, but also you're going to feel a lot like you don't have to be so triggered into that abandonment wound so quickly, right? It doesn't have to trigger you so deeply, but you can be like, because you've observed it and you've seen the contrast. It's like about the contrast between how you felt before you heard the news and how you felt after. And you're like, oh, that's a huge contrast. And it's really going to help you to let go of that negative self-talk. You know, like it's sort of the example of like, say you send someone kind of like a risky text or something. I don't know what would be risky, but I don't know. You put your heart on the line or something, and then you don't hear back from them for like a whole day. And that whole day you're like, oh my God, they hate me. I can't believe I did that. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. And then they respond and it's like super positive and warm. And then you're like, wait, I really shouldn't go to that that place of like instantly kind of abandoning myself, right? In the face of insecurity. So you're not gonna, that's what it is. You're not gonna abandon yourself anymore, because you wanna realize like, wait, I don't actually have to do that. That's actually like somewhat optional. I can actually sit in more confidence and more faith and trust in that unknown, in that not knowing, in that uncertainty. I keep getting in uncertainty or instability. So there is some kind of a third eye initiation that's been going on, where you haven't been able to see things in the physical realm, but Spirit's been working with you in spirit, and you might have been struggling to like trust the messages you've been getting about your situation or about your life, because I just feel like this insecurity has been really triggering you, and you've had very real experiences as a child of abandonment in different ways. So there was a fear, again, being triggered of like, there's nothing going to come in for me. It's not going to sync up, right? Well, it is. So yeah, so it's really positive. I'm seeing like a new beginning, like a very different, more stable kind of self-image, and a more stable sense of not abandoning yourself when you face uncertainty. So your blessing group 2 is a miracle. It's something coming in that you might have thought was impossible or hopeless or a dead end opening for you. It's something very much orchestrated by the angels, by the divine. I'm feeling guardian angel energy, like angelic energy around you right now. I'm really feeling the angels around you, with you, helping you, because I'm feeling like you've been going through a lot of fear and uncertainty, and just really triggering some deep kind of wounds, like I was saying, the abandonment wound. But you've also been healing in this space, you know. Spirit's saying that you have to sometimes get uncomfortable in order to heal things. So Spirit's really sort of commending you for your willingness to go through this process, because you're really going to see things very differently. Like I'm seeing a big perception shift on the other side of this. Once this miracle comes in, like life just looks different to you. You look different to you. When you face things like uncertainty, it's not going to rattle you as much. You're going to have a much stronger sense of like, yeah, well, things can actually end up really well as well. Things can end up really good. things can be really positive. Things can turn out to be a miracle. It doesn't have to be doom and gloom and the worst case scenario and abandonment and people hate you and all of this stuff. That's not how life has to be. So you're going to really see a different world, like a different world around you that's a lot less cruel and abandoning, and is a lot more like, oh, things can actually show up a lot easier for me, because you're changing the way you see things, you're changing the way you think about life, you're changing your connection to spirit, you're deepening your connection to spirit. So this miracle that's coming in, this blessing, it is going to expand in your life and kind of stay with you. Like, you know, one of those big, like, it's a teaching moment. Like, you're almost going to tell I'm seeing you teaching other people with this miracle, being like, you know what, I was facing all of this, you know, I was facing like this really hectic situation and I had no idea how I was going to get through it. I had no idea. And then at the last minute, this miracle came in for me. And people are going to be like, what? Really? And they're going to start to actually learn from your experience and be like, that's really possible. Spirit really came through for you like that. Oh my gosh. And you're going to be like, yep. And I didn't even, and I think the other thing about this miracle is that it's coming in regardless of, like, you know how with law of attraction, manifestation teachings, they say like, oh, you have to think really positively in order to like bring something in. Yes and no, because I'm kind of seeing like spirit saying it's okay if you feel fear. It's okay if you feel anxiety, and that's not going to block something from manifesting. It's not as black and white as that. So yes, we are manifesting things, right, through our own consciousness, but Spirit's saying like, you don't have to be like the happiest camper before this message comes in. You might be feeling really, or before this miracle comes in. I guess it might be through a message for a lot of you guys then. Interesting. But you might be like, yeah, like not in this perfect energy, this perfect ray of sunshine bubble, like love, light person. You might be like in your shadow, and you might be fearful, and you might be like thinking, you know what, there's a very good chance this doesn't work out for me. And yet it's still going to happen. So I think that's another aspect where you're going to like help people to not feel so afraid of like law of attraction and feeling like, oh, I have to be like this extremely happy, bubbly person all the time in order to manifest good things. And it's like, yeah, there's almost like you're going to have, okay, I'm seeing something about your understanding of manifestation deepening through this experience, and you're going to be teaching it. It's a teachable moment that you're actually going to end up sharing with the world, and somehow even just with your close, you know, people that you know in your community, or it could be like teaching it more publicly, because I'm seeing it really changes you. It really makes you feel inspired about life again and really connected to spirit. I think the biggest blessing, even though this outcome feels like a miracle to you and you're really happy about this outcome, I think the biggest blessing is how it deepens your connection to spirit, to your higher self, to your intuition. It's like you're coming really home to your intuition. And to that sense, like the third eye initiation is being able to have faith, even if there's no physical evidence that something's actually going to come in, right? Still holding faith, or still holding a vision of something different. So to some extent, Spirit's saying you've been able to do that, even though you've been feeling really anxious. I'm feeling a lot of anxiety, which is fair enough, because I feel like you've been facing some very real life stuff, right? Life is what life is. I'm not even going to go there. But yeah, so you've been surrendered. Spirit's saying you've been surrendered because you're realizing that this has to kind of come through spirit. This answer, this whatever will happen, will happen. I'm feeling like que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. You're in more of a surrendered space, but you still have anxiety and you still have fear, and that's okay. Spirit's saying that's okay. You don't have to be this freaking enlightened master person, okay, in order to manifest a decent life. All right, so group 2. Your third eye initiation is kind of coming to a close and it's going to be another door opening into a different way of seeing life, a different perception of life, and a much more loving and peaceful way of seeing life, and a much more loving connection with spirit, instead of kind of, because there can be a tendency sometimes for people to project their relationship that they had with their parents or their caregivers onto their relationship with spirit, right? And seeing spirit as some kind of like father figure or mother figure or parental figure. And that's not what spirit is, right? So there's this letting go of any kind of projections of like what it was that you experienced from caregivers growing up, and not projecting that onto spirit, not feeling like, oh my God, spirit, you abandoned me because you didn't do this thing for me. There's a healing here. There's a maturing here where you're coming a lot more into your maturity. And I think you're going to help people with that difference in perception to do with law of attraction, instead of seeing things as like, you know, instead of seeing spirit as like a parent, seeing spirit very differently. And I don't even know what word to put it, because it's like, but it's about a perception shift. Like your whole way of looking at spirit and your relationship with spirit changes, and it matures and it grows, and you realize that this is something that you're actually here to kind of teach people. So yeah, this miracle is going to stay with you through life. It's going to be a great story to tell, I feel. It's that kind of miracle. All right, group 2, that's your reading. Sending you so much love in your path, and yeah, take care. Group 3, you chose perception. So your gift, your blessing that's coming in, the next major blessing for you, is a shift in your perception, like a revelation. Like it's like an internal, it's coming through your own mind, where you suddenly have like an epiphany. It's an epiphany. It's a revelation. It's a aha moment, but like a big one, not just like a small one, although they're always kind of a big deal, I guess. Having like a revelation or an aha moment, it's kind of always a nice experience. But so it's a very nice experience, but the blessing is that it's opening up like a path for you. See how there's kind of like a pathway through the trees here? It's like a path that you didn't previously see. So this could be directly coming from spirit, like a download from spirit, where you're like, oh my God. And I'm just seeing you literally being stunned. Like you're like, and then it's, as your mind is processing this, you're like, wait, what? It's like that? It's like this? It's like that? It's like, it's kind of like a bit shocking, I guess, as well, because it's taking you maybe in an unexpected way. Maybe you're solving a puzzle of some kind. Like I'm seeing you, you're just like going about your business. Maybe you're going on a walk in nature, or you're sitting down meditating, or you're just walking up the stairs of your house, and then all of a sudden you literally stop. This is so dramatic, but I'm seeing this. It's theatrical. It's like you suddenly stop and you're like, what? And you just have this huge revelation, and all of a sudden your perception of your life and the path that you're on, it's a perception that's like impacting your mission, I feel, you know, the mission that you're here to do, the path that you're on. Maybe it's some information. Maybe you're thinking about some information that you were like, I don't know, listening to a podcast or listening to something. And then it's like you're thinking about it, and then all of a sudden you see it in a different way. And you're like, what? It's like when in detective shows, I've always loved them. I've always read these detective novels since I was a kid. I love it. Anyway, it's like in a detective show when the detective finally realizes like who's the murderer, right? And then they're just like, because this one little bit of information all of a sudden like clicks into a bigger puzzle, and they're like, oh my God, it was there all along, you know, it was this person. And everything becomes clear and the whole problem feels solved, you know? It's just like, oh. And then the course of events is very clear. Like they know exactly what the next steps to take out, right? Go and arrest the person or whatever. Collect the evidence or whatever it is. So this is what's going to happen for you. This is your blessing, okay? You're going to have a revelation. You're going to have an epiphany. You're going to have a piece of the puzzle that suddenly everything, it's like the last piece of the puzzle is like a key going into a lock and opening a door. And it's like click. And then, oh my gosh, this door opens for you. And you're on your way. You're on your merry way. I feel like saying you're on your merry way. So the thing is that it's going to lead you to taking some kind of action. It's going to be actionable. It's going to be an actionable download. It's going to lead you on a certain course, or you're going to like a certain path, or to take on a certain role in your mission. And it's just going to feel so clear to you because it's coming directly from spirit. It's so much clarity that you've never doubt it. You'll never doubt it. You'll never doubt this download you get. There's never going to be a point of doubting it, because you're going to be like, it has opened the path for me. It's cleared the way. I'm free. I know what my perception, you know that book, The Doors of Perception? It's like this. Wait, is that okay, so I wanted to double check that book title, and it is The Doors of Perception. I read it many years ago. But apparently the title itself comes from William Blake's quote, "If the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to man as it is, infinite." Everything would appear as it is, infinite. So that's kind of the energy that I'm getting. It's like, sorry, that was really loud. and I threw my phone. But that's the energy that I'm getting. You know, there's going to be a sense of abundance to this awakening. Like, it's going to be very abundant for you. There's going to be a sense of infinite supply, like infinite amount of energy to draw upon. Like, I'm seeing a huge amount of energy, a huge amount of change. Like, this will change you, and it will transform you, even physically, as well as mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It will transform your energy body. And something as well that you were, like, it's going to strengthen you to a point where you're less afraid, you're less living in fear, or you're less holding yourself back in life in some way. So there's a clarity to your purpose and almost like an abundance. I'm trying to articulate the abundance that I'm feeling. But it's like, abundance is almost a mindset, Spirit saying, or it's a perception shift. Like, abundance can be a perception shift. And there's something about you really understanding perception and how perception actually opens the door to like every experience that we desire in life. I keep hitting things. Okay, so you're going to feel like you're waking up from like a sleep, a deep sleep or a slumber, because you're kind of going to feel like you were sleeping on this truth all along. Like, there's something about how it was like there all along. Very interesting. So this perception though, this perception shift is leading to a huge amount of abundance. Like, it's kind of like the energy of, do you know Dolores Cannon? I'm not saying that I necessarily am like promoting her work or anything, but I have obviously seen her work in the spiritual communities. And I've definitely listened to what she has to say and stuff like that. Anyway, but she wrote just like the most prolific amount of books. She just had so much content because of the work that she was doing in the hypnosis sessions. Just do a quick Google of her if you're not sure who I'm talking about. Dolores Cannon. She did the quantum healing hypnosis therapy, right? She basically invented that and then was able to like channel a lot of different information, and she wrote so many books on the topics that she got the information about, right? And there was just this abundance there was just this abundance of material that she had available to her, to the point where like it was sort of hard for her, I think, to even fit in all of the work that she really desired to do, because she said she was just so curious. She just kept wanting more and more and more, and it was almost like, when you get in touch with the infinite abundance, there is almost this endlessness to it. There's this infiniteness to it. There's this almost insatiable appetite for more knowledge, for more information, for more understanding, for more expansion. We're always desiring as a soul to expand. So this is the kind of energy I'm getting. It's like you're going to be in your own Dolores Cannon moment where you have so much material to work from. You have like literally a lifetime of, you know, ideas for books ahead of you, just through this one perception shift, this download, this understanding of your mission, this transformation, this letting go of fear. It's like this one revelation brings so much abundance. It's almost mind-blowing. Like, it's the infinite abundance that exists in all things. So this is big. This is very much an initiation into your mission on earth, into your life's purpose on earth, into your life's purpose on earth. That's what is going to feel very clear to you. You're going to feel really clear about your life's mission on earth and like what it is that you've come here to do. But you're going to feel that sense of abundance to do with it, where it's like you feel like you could live infinitely and do your mission. Like, you know, it's the complete opposite, say, of having a creative block or writer's block, where you're like, oh, I don't know what to write. It's like the opposite, where you're like, I don't know how to fit all of my ideas into one life. How the heck am I going to do that? You're going to realize that like once you're in that abundance of frequency and expansion, it's like the 3D is going to suddenly feel very restrictive, because you're going to be so much in touch with the abundance that it's like you're pulling through information even from spirit. Like, you're channeling so much. Like I keep seeing Dolores Cannon because I just really always was struck by when she would share about the information and how it felt endless to her. Like, it just felt this endlessness to it, this endless amount that could be channeled, that could be brought through in her writing, that could be brought through in her sessions, that could be delivered to people through speeches and sharing, and people were so interested, right? People, and she, I think, was kind of sad that she felt like limited, I think, in some ways, I mean, I think I remember her saying something about how she wasn't ready to die, you know, she like felt like there was just so much more for her to explore, and there's this infiniteness, right? So there's something there about the fact that there is a little bit of going to feel a little bit restricted by the physical realm. I feel for you, like a little bit feeling like, you know, the 3D can be a bit restrictive because we can't necessarily execute every single idea that we have, right? We have to kind of choose one, or we have to balance it out with work or with responsibilities and obligations and blah, 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 blah. And it's sort of like you're going to be spending so much time in the infinite energy, in the infinite abundance, where you're going to feel so inspired, you're going to have so many ideas, that you're going to feel like, how do I fit it all into a day? But I do feel like this is going to, again, lead to a lot of action. Like I'm seeing a lot of action, and I'm seeing a lot of results. I'm seeing a lot of results, like quick results from your actions. I'm seeing a lot of actions. You're taking a lot of actions from this revelation and from this realization of your true path and your true mission. Like, I feel like you're going to be taking more action than you usually do, and you're going to be working longer hours on what it is that you truly care about. Like, for example, if you have a free day, you're going to work like 16 hours on this idea because you're just so passionate about it. You know, when you just have so much energy and life force for it, it's like it's the best thing that you could ever do. So you're going to have a lot of creative downloads, a lot of creative ideas, but so many though. It doesn't feel just like one great book idea, right? It feels like I've got an idea for a book for every day of the week. Like, there's so many ideas, right? There's just so many ideas. So you will be grounding them though, don't worry. You will be grounding your ideas into reality through action, right? Through actually manifesting the work, right? It's not going to stay as an idea up in the astral or in the non-physical. You're actually going to ground your ideas and create projects. But like I said, it's not just going to be one thing, okay? It's not just going to be one thing. Like, if you're writing a book, you're going to write 12 books, like in 2 years. Like, I don't know how you're going to do it. But I'm feeling this, or that's what you're going to feel like you could do, right? Maybe you will have to just choose a couple books, right, for those years. But I'm seeing something about, no, you're going to be working more than average, like maybe working more hours than average, needing a little bit less sleep, because you're really in touch with your life force and your mission, and you're so passionate about it. Like, you just want to be spending 100% of your time on it. So I am seeing a bit about the abundance as well. It's like, because of this revelation and because of this shift that you're having, it's like things in your life are going to be rearranging from this. It's going to be rearranging because you're immersing yourself more and more in the life force energy. You're immersing yourself more and more in life force energy. So because of that, other things in your life will rearrange. You're going to be having more money coming in. You're going to be having more spare time, because, you know, as we go up in frequency, we also receive more abundance and we receive more spare time. That's something I learned from Andrea Hess, Soul Realignment course. Some of you guys might be interested in studying that. I've already said it on my channel like several billion times, it feels like. But anyway, she said that when you go up in consciousness, you also go up in the ability to manifest money and the ability to manifest spare time, which sounds great to me. So anyway, you're going to be doing that. You're going to be raising your frequency big time. And because of that, the amount of time that you have to spend on your passion, on your mission, on your what you really want to spend time on is going to go up. And the amount of abundance or financial prosperity that you receive from that is going to go up. So that's great. But I think that it's this insatiable curiosity that you have that is finally going to be kind of, in a way, satiated. Not quite the right word, but you have this curiosity for life, right? Like Dolores Cannon keeps coming through, okay? She just wanted to know everything. She wanted to ask every kind of question, right? And she wanted to write a book about all of the things that she learned and all of these different perspectives and all of these different, like, it was just amazing. I remember when I first got into her work and I was like mind blown, right? So there's something about that where it's like, you're just not going to want to put this down. You're not going to want to put this work down. You're not going to want to put this job down. You're not going to want to put this book down. You want to just keep going. I don't want to stop. And Spirit is sort of saying that over time, you're going to be able to not have to stop it. You know, like, for example, at the beginning, you might be having to, you know, say you're still working some kind of job, and then you have this newfound passion, right, for your mission, and you're like, gosh, I just want to work on my mission all the time. Well, over the course, like say there's a little transition period, you're going to end up in that energy of working on it all of the time, because I'm seeing this frequency shift where your old life is kind of just going to phase out, because it kind of has to, because it's just no longer a match. And also, as you raise in your frequency, you also raise in your abundance, and abundance includes free time, right? You don't want to be a slave. So it includes free time, like ability to have time. So that's something very important that keeps coming through, is about time, because you're going to realize, like, oh my gosh, like I only have, like, there's going to feel like some sense of, you know, time, the structure of time on this earth, that's going to feel a little bit limiting to you. You're going to be like, this is a bit limiting. And the physical demands, like, of our body, how we have to eat and sleep and drink water and, you know, hydrate, whatever, that's going to feel a little bit limiting to you, because you're going to feel like, no, I just want to work for like the whole time. That's what you're going to feel. I just want to work on this the whole time. Things like food and sleep, not as exciting, not as important, not as intriguing to me, not as interesting, not as inspiring. So that's what I'm saying about this, like a bit of a superhuman frequency to you here, because you actually aren't going to need as much sleep. You are still going to have to honor your physical body, okay? You will be forced to do that to some extent. But you are going to need less sleep. You might even need less food. Like, there's something about that where it's like you're kind of messing with time a bit. You're going to learn something about how to extend time so that you don't feel like, you're going to realize like something about consciousness, and you're going to be like, you know what? Time is a restriction that we don't have to live with. It's something like this, you guys. Really interesting. Time is a restriction we don't have to live with. We can live outside of time. And that's going to really help you to to manifest. Yeah, because you know how like our perception of time changes based on different things, different value, like different things change our perception of time. Sometimes time feels really slow. It feels like it's going by so slow, and a minute can feel like the longest time, right? If we're holding a really hard like pose, asana in yoga, and it's like really painful for our body, and we're like, oh my God, it feels like it's going on forever, right? Whereas other times, time can feel like it's going by so quickly, so fast. So you're becoming some kind of a master of time, where somehow you're going to learn how to like bend time to your will. And you're going to realize like we don't have to live within time in such a limited way. And it's going to change also your perception of things like aging and things like this, because I'm feeling like you're more and more going to be really having a very different human experience, group 3. Like, this is by far the most trippy group that I've tuned in with. So it's like you're going to have a very different human experience. Very interesting. You're going to have a very different human experience. Like, you're not going to need, like I said, you're not going to need as much sleep. You're not going to need as much rest time, downtime. You're maybe not going to need as much food. There's going to be some kind of a shift where you're like living more through your light body. You're living more as your light body. You're living more with spirit in your light body. And it's really profound. And it's almost like you're going to kind of pause time, where you're like, you know what? I got a lot of work to do on this planet. I got a lot of things to get done. So spirit, I really can't be working with this restriction of time. It's just very inconvenient for me. And then somehow you got the power to like actually do that though, and to actually live outside of time. So there's something about your sense of restriction or scarcity to do with time scarcity is going to be vanishing. Something about this perception shift as well, it really lets go of a lot of your worries, a lot of your fears. I'm seeing your perception being from like a really high perception, like a really high perspective is what I meant to say. Perspective, a really high perspective on life. And this high perspective on life is very comforting as well. It's very emotionally soothing, because it's not as like caught up in the, you know, the emotional intensity and density of earth, and like how we hold on to our past and our past experiences, and we, you know, all of that kind of stuff. It's like you're separating from that experience of earth. You're separating from the drama and the trauma of earth. Like, there's a very huge separation happening where you're embodying more and more and more and more of your light body, and you're living in a very different way than normal earth. I would say you're living more like the new earth frequency, right? You're living a lot more in the new earth frequency. So this revelation, this epiphany, it's taking you on a path to the new earth. And it's like you're going to know exactly how to get there. You're going to be like, yeah, I know. And you're going to, of course, share this with others as necessary. But it's almost like you're going to feel like you have so much work to do, but in the best kind of way, where you're like, but I want to do it all. I want to do it all. I want to do it all. So time is going to feel like a restriction to some extent, as you're kind of in this timeline shifting. You're in a timeline shift where it's like your energy and then the old earth energy, and you're like, I'm leaving the old earth and I'm moving into the new earth, and it's really nice. But there is sort of a wobble or a tension to some extent. But you're really, and that's when you're going to feel this sense of restriction of time, where you're like, well, 3D time is too restrictive, I can't do this. And because of that, you're going to like be pushed up more into the light body version of yourself, like I said, where it's like, that's a very different manifestation. That's a very different perspective on earth. That being more in your light body, it's more of the perspective of the non-physical realms, right? Where you're not really thinking so much about, it's almost like you're going to see your life from your higher self's perspective, which is very different from our little earth human perspective. Okay, super different. It's very, very different. So that is a huge advantage, though, because it's going to help alleviate a huge amount of suffering for you, and you're going to really be able to leave the past behind you. And I see fears dissolving as well, like not feeling so afraid in general. So this transformation feels slow, although you're going to have the same amount of passion and energy the whole way through. Like you're not even going to lose passion like at all. Seriously, you're just going to be like, let's go the whole time. So I do feel like it's like this epiphany moment, right? This Ace of Swords, this, oh my gosh, I didn't even see this before, now I see it. Or I didn't know this before, now I know it. Or I feel it, I know exactly. And it's opening a path for you, right? It's opening a path where you're like, I know where I'm going now. I know exactly the steps that I'm taking to be the new earth, like, because that's why you're here on this earth, is to be the new earth. You're meant to embody the new earth. And then as you're doing that, it's sort of a slow process. Like I'm seeing a slower transformation, right? It's not like an overnight light body. It's like a slower integration of the light body, a letting go of the toxins, a letting go of the physical health issues, letting go of the restrictions of the toxic relationships, whatever it is. It's going to start to speed up though, and more of the time you're going to be in that light body energy. And that's why I'm saying things like anti-aging is going to happen, things like extending your lifespan is going to happen, things like attracting totally different kinds of relationships and communities is going to be happening. Things like having way more spare time, but not even needing the concept of spare time anymore, because you're living so much more outside of time, and you're manifesting a lot more material abundance a lot more easily. And I'm seeing as well living more in alignment with nature, living more in alignment with the true way that we're meant to live here on this earth, with peace and with harmony with all living things. It's kind of giving me this natural abundance energy as well, where it's like, you know, for example, if you grow a lot of your own food, then that really saves a huge amount of money, right? Because it's just growing. And yeah, you have to invest in some ways into a garden or whatever, but it's still so abundant to live in this way. So I'm seeing this kind of abundance where it's like very natural and organic. It's very easeful and flowing, and it comes from being guided back into alignment with all things, you know, being guided back into alignment with the way that we as humans are meant to live, more communally, more supporting one another. So yeah, your intuition is going to be on point, your perception of life, very, very changed, very changed, group 3. I suppose it's an epiphany, you know. I guess that's the blessing. It's an epiphany, but it opens this door to, the doors of perception, right? It opens this door to a whole new life for you, a whole new way of experiencing abundance and experiencing earth, really. You know what it is? It's a ticket to the new earth. That's what it is. Oh my God, I love it. It's like a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory's golden ticket. Like you're unwrapping a ticket to the new earth and you're like, I got one. It's that kind of thing. And I'm not saying like, I don't know how New Earth is going to work, you guys. I don't know who the heck's coming to New Earth or whatever. But I'm just saying that there's something about it's like, that's what I got. You're getting a ticket to the New Earth, okay? That's the best way I can put it. And it's something about you're getting streamlined there. Okay, maybe you're one of the first people to experience the new earth frequency, and you're going to kind of help to herald it in. You're going to help to herald it in and to bring in the new earth. So it's like you're getting a ticket because you're one of the first ones at the scene. You're one of the first ones who's like, I know the way. Come with me. I know the way. I know the way. Yeah, it's really, really nice. So that's the blessing, is a ticket to the new earth through your own perception within. It's within. It's your perception within where you're like, I know. And that is so powerful, you guys. That's so powerful. And it's like, I'm seeing now, this reading could go on forever. I'm seeing now as well, like other people getting downloads as well. And you're all gonna like meet up, okay, in the end. Wow, okay, so I was channeling this actually for my group the other week. But anyway, I'm seeing that for the New Earth communities are starting to be activated. I saw that on the 1111 portal. The New Earth communities are starting to be activated, where light workers have been kind of asked to be more solitary. They've been working through their issues in a more solitary way. Working through their issues. Healing from just the experience of incarnating onto Earth and being like, what is this? I'm a light being, what am I doing here? Anyway, so been healing that, and now it's like starting to get to the time where communities are going to be coming together, okay? Like light being communities where you're just so resonant, right? Soul family, your community just completely nourishing and supporting you and providing that sense of natural abundance that's here on Earth, instead of that sense of like, it's every man for themselves, you know, survival of the fittest. Like, that's not humanity. That's not how human beings actually are. We're actually cooperative, harmonious beings. We're not here to compete against each other, right? We're actually here to help one another. So yeah, so I'm seeing that this epiphany that you're having, right? This like, boom, download, epiphany, realization, understanding, activation of your mission, and realizing exactly the steps you have to take to completely achieve your mission, and having complete clarity and faith about it. I mean, it's pretty powerful. But this is going to be happening in other people around the globe. I'm seeing lights popping in different areas of the globe, lights popping in different areas of the globe. And I'm seeing over time that you're going to be guided together, different groups across the globe. You might even be guided to go to a new location, because in that location, there will be specific resonance with not only the land, but also a different resonance, like other people might be drawn there, or you might be meeting specific people from that area, or people will be drawn to where you are. So there's something about that this is part of a bigger initiation for light workers. This is a part of a bigger activation for light workers. And yeah, you're going to be creating the new earth with your beautiful, beautiful, loving energy. And I see that, yeah, these communities, they will be coming together in the next maybe like 2 to 4 years, I'm seeing, but who knows? But that's what I'm seeing. So yeah, okay, I think that's the end of your reading, group 3, because the channel just kind of went bloop. So that's all. But I'm sending you so much love on your path, and I'll see you soon, okay? Bye.